friends. We have started to learn about our neighborhoods. And last week I had you guys write about your favorite part in the neighborhood and explain why that was your favorite, and maybe try to convince someone else that it was a great place to go in their neighborhood too. Today we are going to read this book about Franklin's neighborhood. So Franklin is this turtle, and he lives in a neighborhood with lots of different animals, and all the animals act like humans. So we're going to read this book about his neighborhood, and what I want you to pay attention to is how he views his neighborhood, what he enjoys about it, and think about if any of the things he really likes about his neighborhood, maybe you like about yours, or maybe there are things that he likes and you don't like as much. So kind of compare it to your own experience as we go through the story. And then at the end, you're going to get to make your own little booklet or magazine. It's called a zine because it's like a mini magazine. And I'm going to show you how to make it. And then in that book, you can talk about all your favorite things in the neighborhood. So you don't have to just choose one this time. You get to talk about all of them. So keep in mind all the things you like and maybe get some ideas from Franklin. All right, this story is called Franklin's Neighborhood by Paulette Bourgeois. It's a French name, so sometimes I struggle with pronunciation when it's not in the language that I'm used to. And that's okay. I'm learning when I'm doing it, right? And it's illustrated by Brenda Clark. All right. Oh, and you can see this book used to be owned by Miss Cannon, our vice principal. It's so nice when we get to connect with things like that. Franklin's Neighborhood. Franklin's Neighborhood. Franklin could count to 10 and back again and say the alphabet without stopping. He liked drawing pictures and he loved show and tell. So when Mr. Owl assigned the first project of the year, Franklin was ready. "We live in a neighborhood," explained Mr. Owl. "And our neighborhood is made up of houses and stores and—" "Gardens," said Snail. "And a hospital," added Badger. "Exactly," said Mr. Owl. "Now, for tomorrow, I want each of you to draw a picture of what you like best about our neighborhood." "What do you like best?" asked Franklin. Mr. Owl thought for a moment. "The school," he replied. Everyone laughed. That makes sense, doesn't it? When Franklin got home, he hurried to his room. "Would you like a snack?" asked his mother. "No, thanks," said Franklin. "I have a project to do." Franklin took out his crayons and some paper, and then he sat down to think. He thought about the ice cream store, and then he thought about the bicycle trail, and then the soccer field. Franklin sighed. Choosing the best thing about his neighborhood was not going to be easy. Maybe you guys felt like that when you had to choose only one thing last week. Franklin went to his mother. "Could I have a snack now, please?" he asked. "I think my brain is hungry." But after 3 fly cookies and 2 glasses of milk, Franklin still hadn't decided what he liked best. "Why don't you go for a walk around the neighborhood?" suggested his mother. "That might help," said Franklin. He got his paper and crayons and off he went. Franklin met Beaver in a meadow. "I finished my project," Beaver announced. "I picked the library, and I went there right after school to draw my picture." Franklin thought about story time with Mrs. Goose, the librarian. "That's a good idea," Franklin said. "Maybe that's what I'll draw." He waved goodbye and headed for the library. Reminds me of Miss Gordon in our library, huh? Maybe you have a librarian at the local branch that you go to in Berkeley that you really like as well. Franklin was sitting on the library steps when Fox came by. "Have you finished your project?" asked Fox. Franklin shook his head. "I was going to draw the library, but on the way here I saw the movie theater. I just can't make up my mind." "I chose the fire station," said Fox. Franklin remembered the time Chief Wolf let him sit in the fire truck. "That's a good idea," Franklin said. "Maybe that's what I'll draw." He collected his paper and crayons and set off. Franklin was outside the fire station when he saw Moose. "Have you finished your project?" asked Moose. No, Franklin sighed. I was going to draw the fire station, but on the way here I saw other places I liked just as much.
I like the pond best of all, said Moose.
Franklin thought about swimming and skating with his friends. That's a good idea, Franklin answered. Maybe that's what I'll draw. He said goodbye and headed for the pond. So in the summertime their pond, or maybe like a small lake, is nice and cool when it's hot outside for them to refresh themselves in. But then in the winter, it gets all snowy and so cold that the pond freezes over. And we don't have this where we live. It doesn't get cold enough for our water and our lakes to freeze over. And so just so you know, that is a pond, but it's frozen. And so that's why they're able to ice skate over it and play hockey. Franklin was staring at the water when Bear came along. What's the matter? Asked Bear. I can't decide what to draw for my project, said Franklin. I like too many things. My best place is the berry patch, said Bear. Franklin thought about all the times he and Bear had picked berries together. See, said Franklin, another great idea. Oh. What about the park? Bear suggested. Franklin thought about playing with his friends on the swings and the slide. That's it, declared Franklin. He said goodbye to Bear and hurried off. Franklin's mother found him sitting alone on the teeter-totter. Did the walk help? She asked. Not really, replied Franklin. There are so many great things in our neighborhood. Franklin's mother gave him a hug. Let's go home and talk, she said. I made your favorite supper. Franklin grinned. At least I know what that is. What do you guys think his favorite supper is? Seems like he's decided on what type of food he likes. Franklin felt a bit better after broccoli soup and fly pie. I'm ready to think again, he said. Then he asked his parents what they liked best about the neighborhood. I like the farmer's market on Saturday morning, said his mother. Franklin smiled. He loved Farmer Rabbit's sweet peas and Farmer Squirrel's fly brownies. And I like belonging to my chess club, said his father. Franklin agreed. He liked belonging to the chess club, too. So many things. I think that's a great idea to ask your siblings and your parents and your friends. And you can get all sorts of ideas about things in your neighborhood. Then Franklin remembered something. Is it true that Mr. Heron is moving? He asked. Mr. Heron was the president of the chess club. Yes, it's true, replied Franklin's father. I'm going to miss him very much. This neighborhood won't be the same without him. Franklin nodded. He was going to miss Mr. Heron, too. Suddenly, Franklin knew what he wanted to draw. I know what I like best, he said. Franklin ran to his room and started working. At school the next day, everyone was excited. It was time to see the projects. Raccoon went first. I drew the river, he said. I drew the forest, said Hawk. Finally, it was Franklin's turn. He unrolled a huge sheet of paper. It was covered with drawings of almost everyone that Franklin knew. I don't get it, said Beaver. So this is Raccoon to the river because he likes to go fishing. And then Hawk drew the forest because that's where he likes to fly through and maybe catch food. The snail looks like he likes the garden. Beaver said the library, right, I think. And then Bear said the bushes where he can get berries. And then Fox, remember, he said the firehouse. And that's Franklin. So you can see all the different people and characters that he chose. Franklin smiled. I drew my neighbors, he said. That's what I like best about my neighborhood. So that's another thing, right? Not only places are in our neighborhood, but people live in our neighborhood. And so all the times, everything he thought of, it's not the place that made it amazing. It was the person, right? The librarian, the fire chief. It's all in the bear in the bushes, in the berry bushes, right? It's all the people he spent the time with. You know, on the lake, he spent time with his friends doing the skating and the swimming. And so the people was what was most important to him about all those different places. So keep that in mind. Maybe you want to include the people or the places in your neighborhood zine. And that's the end of our story, friends. Oh, I love reading that story. All right, let me show you what we're talking about when we're talking about making a neighborhood zine. So this is what I'm talking about. You get to make a little booklet. Now, for this booklet, I started making already. You can see I already folded it. And then I started doing the title page, the cover, just like it says Franklin's neighborhood. Here it says my neighborhood. And then I wrote by Sarah, my first name, right? You guys could say, you know, Heather's neighborhood or Miles's neighborhood, or you could put my neighborhood and then by Miles, right? So you can put it either way, however you want to say it. If you want it like the book, then you would say, you know, Zion's neighborhood and not put a by. You don't have to put that if you don't want to. But I added some things to my cover. I put some grass, a sun, and a bird. At my parents' house where their neighborhood where I am now, they have lots of bird feeders. And so we get to listen to the birds all day and then we get to watch them and it's really fun. So I had to include a little birdie. All right, so let me show you how to make a zine. All right, so you get a piece of paper, any piece of paper you want. Actually, this one is like a cool marbled greenish blue paper, and you can use any paper. I would suggest using a lighter color because for your zine, you're gonna wanna be able to draw on it and make pictures. So if it was a black piece of paper, you'd only really be able to use like a white crayon. So make sure you choose a light colored piece of paper. All right, it should be longer than it is wide so that this makes sense. It's like a standard copy paper would be great. You can also use construction paper too. So the first step, now if you remember, if you're in my class, we made the coronavirus to learn about it. We made a zine about that as well. And it was already written and colored, or was already written, and it had pictures. And some of you decided to color it in. And we made them with our buddies. So last time we had our buddies to help us. This time, see if you can do it by yourself or with maybe your sibling or a parent to help if you need to. Okay. And it's okay if you make a mistake the first time. You can get another piece of paper and try again. So the first step is you need to take this whole paper and you're going to make it into 8 square rectangles. And the way you do that is you fold it in half. Okay, so first I'm going to fold it in half this way. Some people call it hamburger style. Some people call that. So you have a vertical line. I call it that you had it landscape and now you're making it portrait because it's taller, right? Like your face, a portrait. And now, after you've pressed down on that seam, okay, you're gonna fold the other way. And again, I have landscape and now I'm gonna go portrait. So I go over, I match up my corners. This is probably the hardest part is this folding part and getting it pretty close so that each of your pages is about the same size. Okay, now you really wanna make that nice crease there. Okay, see how flat it is? That's because I'm making those strong creases. All right, and then the last one, I'm gonna turn it landscape again, and you're gonna fold it portrait again. Okay, and this is the hardest one because it's the thickest page. You still wanna try hard to get it in that corner. Okay, sometimes I line it up against my finger like this. I hold it in the corners, and then I press down. I push out from the center, and I go up, and I push down the center and go down, and really crease it. You can even pick it up and squeeze it. Sometimes I pinch it like this, and then I lay it on the bottom of my hand like that. So I pinch, and then my hand goes underneath like this. And I hold one end, and then I squeeze and press all the way down. I can do it on this side too. So pinch, and then you're kind of pushing it against your fingers. So it makes that really good crease. And you can see it just pops up a little bit, just like mine does now. See? Boop. All right, so now that you have it all folded, you're gonna unfold it. What? But you made those creases, so you'll still be able to see them. You unfold it all the way, boom. And now you see you have 8 pages on there, okay? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to actually kind of fold it along those lines. But see, when it goes up like this, I want you to fold it backwards on any line. So you see how that folds up? I'm going to fold it back. And the more flexible your zine is on these creases, the easier that last step is. And so wherever you see it folding, you might want to fold it the other way, just to kind of make it flexible. All right. And then even fold it one more time this way. Just folding it on those lines, just making it super flexible on all those lines. Okay, ta-da! Now it almost looks flat again. All right, now you want to close it so it's like this again, okay? So you have almost like a cross in the center of your paper, okay? Now you want to have it so it opens on this side and your scissors are on the other side. So you can be reversed, but no matter what, you're going to cut along the crease, okay? So you want to cut along here. Okay, not the open side, that'll ruin it. And that's the biggest mistake we usually make. So make sure this is the open side. You can put your hand in it kind of like I did to make sure. And then hold it closed. And then along this crease, you're gonna cut straight along that crease until you hit the center. Bloop. And then you back away. Okay. And you see you have the crease, but it only opens to the center. Okay. The next step is where it all comes together. And this is the cool part then. So I'm going to open it up again. What you're going to do is you're going to grab the two ends and you're going to kind of pinch them together. And then you see when you pinch them together and stand it up, if your creases are really good, this part will be really easy. Okay, so you grab the edges. Okay, so again, it's flat. You kind of pinch here and lift it up. And then you push, see my hands are coming together. You push them together. And then you have like a plus sign staring up at you, like a 3D plus sign. And now this is the trickiest part. Okay, then you just fold it together. Boom. And you have your zine. I'm gonna do that one more time for you. Okay, open it back up all the way. Boom. Okay, pinch the edges, lift it, push those together. Those should pop out, making a space in the center. And then you have your plus sign. And then no matter which way you do, you just kind of fold it all together. It doesn't really matter which way you go. Oh, excuse me. I used my elbow though. Always do that. All right, and I have my zine. And then you just want to make sure, remember, our binding of our books and things is always on the left side. And then we always open our book, excuse me, and read this way. Okay, so you want to make sure all your openings are on that side when you do your title. So I'm going to do another one. And this time I'm going to say Miss Carver's. And you see, because it's a small book, you kind of have to write small. Okay, Miss Carver's. Now, neighborhood is a really long word. And I'm going to copy it from here. You guys can pause the video and copy it from here too if you want. It's a little tricky though because it's all capitals. And since it's the title of the story, it should just be like Franklin, where it's capital and then lowercase. See that? Capital and lowercase. So that's what I'm going to do on here. But neighborhood isn't all going to fit. So you guys see here, I split it up. I did neighborhood. But remember, Franklin liked his neighborhood because of all of his neighbors. And that's where this word comes from, neighbor, right? People that live near you or live in your neighborhood, right? So I think it's important to keep that word neighbor together. So I'm going to write that. I'm going to start on this end, right? Big N, and then little E-I. What's the next letter? Yeah, G-H. E-I-G-H. A. It makes the A sound. Isn't that kind of weird? Nay. And then borhood. So neighbor. There we go. Neighbor dash, because I'm not done with the word. And then put hood down here. Neighborhood. Miss Carver's neighborhood. Yay! All right. And then I can keep going and make my little zine about my neighborhood. So inside you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a back page. So you have 7 places where you could write about things about your neighborhood. The other thing you could do is if you wanted to do, if you want to write a little bigger or do a bigger picture, you could do one on this whole page. And then you could flip it and do a whole nother one and use the whole page across. And then you could do 3, right? Big ones. And then you could do a back cover, or you could do a 4th smaller one on the back. It's your choice. It's your zine. You do it how you want. Okay. Let me show you a little bit of my zine. I'm not done with it. I just started. So I have my cover. And then inside, you can see I drew one page already, and I have writing. And then I have writing because I want to write down all my ideas before I forgot them. So I wrote down a lot of my ideas. And then I don't have anything on the back yet. I don't know if I'll do a back cover or I'll do another idea. I'm not sure. But I'll read to you what I have. I like the flowers. Calla lilies are my favorite. And so what did I draw? Yeah, it's a calla lily flower. They're one of my favorite flowers. And I love seeing them in my neighborhood where I live in Oakland. And then I kind of mixed my neighborhoods because I have my neighborhood here with my family in Walnut Creek. And then I have my neighborhood where I live most of the year in Oakland with my other, I live with other adults. And so I call them my apartment mates or my roommates or my flatmates. I have my own room, but we share the house. And so I kind of mixed the neighborhoods, and I feel like that's okay. So calla lilies in Oakland, and then here in Walnut Creek, I like walking our dog Lady. So I'll definitely draw a picture of her there. And then I like biking on the Iron Horse Trail. I brought my bike with me, and there's a trail called the Iron Horse Trail that I like to bike. And then over here, I said, I can see Mount Diablo when I walk around. So over in Oakland and Berkeley, we have the Oakland-Berkeley Hills that are beautiful. You can go hiking and you can see them and they're gorgeous. And so maybe if I was talking about that, I'd go over there. But over here we have Mount Diablo, which rises really high, and I love watching that, seeing that during the days when I'm outside. And then I like getting coffee down the hill. If I walk down the hill, I can get coffee at one of my favorite coffee places. And then my last one is back in my apartment in Oakland, or my house in Oakland. I like visiting my friends Ed and Sachi nearby. They live just down the street from me, and I can walk there and see them. So that I can't do right now because we're staying at home. But you can include things that you're doing now and things that you like in your neighborhood that you can normally do as well. So don't let that limit you whether you can do it right now or not. Like Ruby, right now we can't go to the zoo. But she wrote that that was one of her favorite things in the neighborhood. So I thought that was a really good idea to include both types of things. All right, so that's my zine, partway finished. I'm excited to see your zines, friends. I'd love if you send me a picture of maybe a page that you do inside, or you can send me the whole thing, or you can even make a little video of you reading your zine to me, whatever you want. I would love to see it, and I'll write you back about whatever you send me. All right, thanks for reading about your neighborhood and Franklin's neighborhood with me today. Bye, friends.